Welcome to the Whole Person Parenting Podcast. We're here to have honest conversations about how to follow Jesus and parent kids in a whole person way. For more content and encouragement as we support you on your journey, you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. We're so glad you're here. Now let's jump in. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Whole Person Parenting Podcast. We're so glad that you're here and thankful that you joined us. We're currently in our series called Are We There Yet?
Yeah.
And last episode we talked about infancy, and we're kind of going through the different stages of development in psychology and brain development and all the things. And so today we're talking about toddlerhood. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Toddlercy?
Toddlerhood.
Toddlercy.
I see why you went to toddler, because infancy and because it's not infanthood.
Which one is it?
Yeah,
And it's
infancy,
childhood.
toddlerhood. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's toddlerhood.
Feels weird,
Yeah.
but whatever.
Yeah. I didn't come up with it. Yeah. So toddlerhood. We're going to be talking about that. And we're probably going to break this one up into a couple of episodes because toddlerhood.
There's a lot to cover.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover. There's a lot to cover in these first years of life. Because
Well, they're also so
much
foundational, right? To
Yeah,
everything
there's so
that they're.
much.
Yeah, you're learning so much in that time. So
yeah,
we're just gonna take our time with it.
We sure are. We said that when we started this thing.
Yeah,
we were like,
we're just gonna go how long.
however long it
needs.
Yeah, however long it needs, and isn't that just like development?
Yeah,
it's like however long it takes. It's just
it'll work.
The pace. That's the whole point of this, is just following.
Yeah,
following development, parenting at the pace of development, however long that takes. So, yeah,
that's good.
So we're gonna do that, and toddlerhood's where we're going next. We could have spent some more time on infancy, but I think what we really wanted to establish there, and hopefully that's what we did. If you haven't listened to the episode, I would go back and listen to that. And if you haven't, if you've missed anything, a part of the series, I really encourage you to listen to it in a sequence and really get the why we're talking about this, the foundation of it, and it does build cumulatively. So it would be helpful to go back and listen.
For sure.
So we did establish that infancy is all about dependency.
Yeah.
And we talked about how that was really a picture of what God wants for us.
Yeah.
A dependency on Him, and how we can help our children understand what a relationship with God looks like, first by our relationship with our kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which is really cool. It's cool that God set it up like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of wanted to start this episode with what we see and we believe is one of the first examples of parenting in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be how God parents Adam and Eve. And so kind of how we think about toddlerhood is how we're going to talk about Adam and Eve.
Yeah. Although we acknowledge that Adam and Eve were
adults.
Full grown. Yeah. I always thought that was
maybe,
interesting. Yeah.
But maybe amount of time they'd spent, I don't know. It doesn't time on Genesis is, you have no idea. They could have been a baby.
I don't know.
I don't know how it worked.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like it.
It doesn't sound like it. Yeah.
And I think we all have kind of accepted throughout church history
that
they were
just a mystery.
Yeah, full grown. But there's mysteries of the Bible, mysteries of our faith that we, accept.
We accept that
along with
God is
God.
He knows. Yeah. God is God, and we just we cannot always fathom that what He does.
All that entails.
Yeah.
But we do see a hands-on walking with kind of relationship. And we know we see that with Jesus on earth. But Jesus never fathered anyone, never created anyone on on earth at the time. And so we do see, God fashion Adam. We see him, actually like interacting with him. And so, we're gonna just kind of hold that in mind as we're talking through toddlerhood and maybe even beyond, because I think it's really relevant to the picture of parenting and just like how God sets it up. It all begins in the garden, and there's so many different ways that continues to be relevant throughout our lives, and it is relevant to parenthood for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that later. But maybe let's first define what is toddlerhood. Like, what age range is that? Yeah. How does it differ from infancy or like elementary age? What's different about it? And like what's happening in the brain during this stage?
Yeah. Wow.
Which is a lot, but
yeah, it's a lot. I'm not going to be able to name all of the things that are happening. Yeah. What we can do is give you guys some resources. We'll do that in the show notes.
And then maybe the key points.
But we'll name some major things and some major differences. So, just like when we talked about that dependency was really the part that infancy is the major point of infancy, right? Is that they can learn to be dependent on the caregiver. Well, toddlerhood is where independence begins, right? So where the child starts to shift, where they need to start getting more independent, more mobile. And it's just the very, very first pieces of that. And so we see that, we talked about this briefly last time, but, around that 7 to 9 months of age, they are establishing that attachment figure, so they know who to go back to when they get mobile. And we know that's really more solidified around the 18-month mark. So it's really kind of beginning around that 7 to 9 month mark. I know who my attachment figure or figures are, but then we have, multiple attachments around that 12-month mark, which is where toddlerhood begins. Okay. Yeah. And so now I have maybe a few people that I would know, or a couple of people that I would know to go back to. And that's because I may be in different situations with very, different people. And my world is meant to expand at that point. So maybe up to the 12-month mark, I've primarily spent that time, especially, over history. That time would have maybe been spent primarily in the home, in one person's home, or in the child's home. And so now maybe I'm going out places. I'm going out into the village. I'm going out into now the village. City. I'm going to Walmart.
Walmart.
I'm going to church. I'm going to different places in the community. Park. I'm going to the park. Yeah. And so now, then I'm around 12
These
months
are new
old,
places.
18 months old. Now I'm starting to toddle around. I'm starting to walk. And also in this age range, we have language acquisition. So this is where first the child begins to understand language, and those are receptive language skills. And that means that a child can understand what you're saying before they can speak.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they can understand what you're saying first. And then that comes on sooner than when they're able to, form the words themselves. And then, slowly they build on language. They start with maybe just, one word, one syllable, and then a couple of syllables, and then a couple of words together, and then a short sentence, and then longer sentences and sentences strung together. Get the point.
Yeah.
So it's cumulative again in development. And so all this is happening in these 3 years of life. So lots of brain architecture is being developed, but that's happening again in response to what is going on in the child's environment. So if this is an environment that is rich with experiences, various experiences, interaction with people, people who are interacting with them, and people who are reading them books, singing them songs, talking with them, then they're going to develop, a more rich vocabulary, for instance. They're going to maybe be more expressive. Maybe their emotional regulation is going to have they're going to have more bandwidth for the foundations of emotional regulation if they have a caregiver who's able to respond to their emotional needs and stay with them whenever they have maybe a temper tantrum or something like that, when they're having big emotions. So lots of foundational things are being laid during this age. We also have things like boundary pushing that are happening, and the need for boundaries to be put in place. And so that we think is probably an episode in and of itself, and likely the next thing that we're going to cover. So we won't go a ton into the boundaries and like minding and listening in this episode, but that would be the beginnings of that in this 1 to 3 year old range, which I think most parents, a lot of parents, this becomes the focal point. But there are a lot of other things going on that are really essential for the child to be able to develop well and to in relationships, and develop well in emotionally and cognitively. So with their in speech and language, as well as physically. So they have to have opportunities to run around, explore their environment, to interact with people, to have a range of emotions that are supported, to talk with people. Yeah.
So would that mean like there's a case for like, I think a lot of people, typically you're talking about like language development and all these and emotional development, even like giving words to emotions.
Yeah.
Would that be an argument for like it's okay to use big words around your toddler, or like not have to dumb it down, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
Because I think, you see like there's always the classic way that you treat kids, right? And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a sweet thing, but there's the baby voice, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like
they call that motherese, that baby talk, like the
come on, Tommy,
okay.
it's okay, Tommy.
Yeah. And there are, different families feel differently. Family culture may vary in how comfortable they are with motherese. And there's not,
there's not a right or wrong way.
Articulation could be an issue with that, like how the child learns to talk.
Okay.
Yeah, that could be impacted if depending on their exposure to other people.
That much. Okay.
But it's not detrimental, and it could be soothing. Depending, it could be soothing for the child. So using motherese for soothing purposes may be, helpful to the child emotionally. Maybe like supportive in those ways. So, but then there are other, there are people who are very against using that tone, and are like, we don't use baby talk, and we're not going to do that in our family. We're going to talk like grown-ups. And so I think it would be important to just consider, are the expectations of the child developmentally appropriate, or is that confused?
Okay, so how can parents parent well in this stage? Like what is the role of the parent in this stage? Is it, just to like only teach them how to set boundaries and be reading to them and like all these kinds of things, or like what are parents supposed to be doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are many facets to what makes healthy development happen. And, I've said it on here before, but there's, no one's going to get it right
all the time. Yeah. There's going to be fails.
Yes. There are going to be fails, like outright fails. There are going to be moments of, not as good as yesterday. Like my 100% today may not be as good as my 100% yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? I may not have the capacity today that I did last week.
Yeah. We talked about that too, like with our relationship.
Yeah.
That my toddler years were really hard.
Yes.
On you and...
Yeah. I had way too much going on, which was my fault. I mean, like, I was, in school, and that was very stressful. That was a choice that I made, thinking I'm like, could do everything.
Super mom.
And having those expectations on myself too, of like, that it all had to be perfect all the time. Because my house was like, immaculate all the time with being in school and,
having a husband,
having
kids,
having little ones and being in school, it was, everything had to be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
And serving and volunteering at church and, just doing all the things and exercising and,
trying to do everything.
And yes, like trying to be fit and, stylish. And I mean, it was just like, I wanted all the boxes checked all the time. And that was, so that took I paid, like, I didn't just pay the price for that. You guys paid the price for that. And there was a trade-off. Like there was a trade-off that I was not always recognizing. I didn't recognize that, okay, if I were making a different choice potentially here, if I was like maybe I should let something go. And I did come to a point finally of being like, okay, I have to, and I cut down to half-time grad school while I was working full-time and
cut down a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut down like the bare minimum.
Yeah, that was
still
6 years
doing a lot.
6 years in, I cut down to part-time grad school. And because I had gone all the way through my bachelor's, well, not all the way, I guess, because I started bachelor's before you guys were born, but it was part-time and working full-time. So, but yeah, I mean, it was just, too much. So, I mean, but I had these like perfectionistic kind of expectations that were not your fault, not, Braden's fault or Daddy's fault. It was just me, and
do you feel like
my own insecurities and inadequacies?
Yeah. How do you feel like that like bled over into like your reaction or like your interactions with me and Braden?
I mean, I think I had like high expectations of you in particular, probably because you're a girl.
Yeah.
In part, and you're the oldest. And so, there's a reason why you were so tidy.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you kept a calendar when you were like 4.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And
yeah, I did always have my calendars.
It was, and I'm like, oh, she's so organized. And I'm like, but that, yeah. So I think I wasn't telling you those things. I wasn't telling you to do that, but
I learned it.
You internalized what you were seeing.
Yeah.
As like, this is how you be a woman, maybe, or this is how you be a girl, or this is how you be good at something, or like you're looking up to me, or I think you internalized that. And because I don't think I had these like super high expectations of you doing those things.
Yeah.
But I also did praise you for them a lot. And so that was, and that's something I've talked about, but I think in praising you for those things, it encouraged you because every kid likes praise,
Yeah, for sure.
And so then you're
and
like,
everyone
praise,
wants their
good.
parents to be proud of them.
For sure.
Or like, I think the common thing is almost that like, if you're younger, you don't want the same things that adults would want.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want support, or like you don't need those things.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the same things that feel good as an adult, like, being successful,
Mm-hmm.
being complimented,
Mm-hmm.
being just anything that like would just like be good as an adult is also feels good to a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting a sweet treat after dinner. It's like I mean anything. And so I think if you understand better what your kid's mind is like, you're going to be able to parent them better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it also takes the time to figure out what your kid likes.
What your kid needs. And I think that's a good point, Press, because I think that my schedule was so tight, and, I continue to have a tight schedule. I have a lot of things that I juggle often. And, but I think I have learned to try to be in the moment a lot more.
Yeah.
Like whatever moment I'm in.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was in that space at that time. I know I wasn't.
Like not being able to be present with me.
Yeah, sometimes not able to be present, even though I was like there.
Yeah.
And so I remember, I don't know why this is coming up, but I think it's probably coming up for a reason, so I'm going to say it. But I remember like the example of you and I playing together, and because I did play with you a lot, and but you and I playing together and playing Barbies.
Yeah.
And you would just
I couldn't come up with a story.
You couldn't play.
I couldn't play.
Yeah. But we played together a lot. But you you wanted me to play and you to watch.
Yes.
And I had to have like a whole storyline. It was like a soap opera of the Barbies, The Bachelorette.
I know. I had the
You'd never even seen The Bachelorette.
I had never seen The Bachelorette, but I wanted you to come up with the story, and I wanted to watch.
Yeah, you wanted to watch.
I didn't want you to participate in my play. I wanted you to play and me to participate in your play.
Yes, I know. You wanted me to lead the play.
I couldn't psychoanalyze myself enough to know why that is. And maybe you could, but I'm still not sure. I was never a kid who wanted to play. I never like.
Well, I think maybe I just made it so I made it such like an uptight feeling environment that you couldn't relax enough to play. Is my guess is
maybe.
You liked to do like task.
I like to do tasked things.
Yes,
and
or that's
like
maybe part of your personality.
Yeah.
But you love to read, and you loved us to read you books, and I think we read a lot. And
I think it was like an internalized, I have to be productive. Mm-hmm. And these things are things that feel productive, like I'm doing something.
And play doesn't feel
Barbie doesn't feel productive.
Yep.
And, I regret that now. Like, I wish I would have been able to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just let loose and play. Because I remember Brayden was always playing with G.I. Joes or... all sorts of stuff. Like he was way more of like a toys person than I was. Like I don't think I had like any toys, and not just because I didn't want them.
Yeah.
Like I never asked for toys.
Yeah.
If I asked for toys,
when you were little, you had toys.
Yeah.
But
those were like toys that were like
still,
fidgeties,
Yeah, like you had a little kitchen and that kind of stuff, but you tended to not want to play with those things. But again, I think it was probably more. I
liked doing.
Tasky.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wanted to
puzzles and
and I wanted to perform
and like learning
things so I could show them off and stuff like that.
Yes, and I think that is what happened is that in toddlerhood, I think for you especially focused on you learning, which is I think for a first child especially, this is what happens is that the parent is very future focused a lot,
which
and
makes sense. Like
I have to teach you all the things. Yeah. There's like a lot of pressure, internalized pressure for lots of parents about like, okay, this person, you have this realization that like I'm responsible for teaching you like all the things.
Like all the basics, like how to speak. And
yes, I feel all your ABCs and, I feel
just kind of sad for first-time parents right now because I'm like, that's just like so much pressure to put on yourself.
Yeah. And really, you don't have to put that much pressure on yourself. No. and that's
They
my
don't. Your
hope
kid
is,
doesn't have to be the next boy genius.
well, and
You know.
really, honestly, the best thing you can do in retrospect, like the best thing that and what I've learned, which I didn't know at the time, was that the best thing I could do is just let you explore, like let you learn, give you the space to learn,
Yeah.
give you just support your learning.
And that goes back to like that the toddler
Yeah.
phase of development is where they begin to become independent.
Yes, and they need support for exploration. They need you to be there to say you're safe to do that. You're okay to do it. It's for them to be like, for them to climb up one side of the slide and you go to the other end of the slide and say, "Come on, you can do it.
Yeah.
It's okay to come down. I'm going to be here."
Yeah. But not do it for them.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Or not hold them while you're going.
While you're going down the slide and
not if
yes.
it's safe enough for them to do it.
Yes.
Or for you to be like, "You can't go up that because that's not safe."
Yeah.
And so they don't ever learn how to do it, or they can't, they can't get in the swimming pool because you're scared. And so that's
like
the
your own fear
struggle
of what
could
your
happen.
kid is doing and the fear of what could happen is going to hold them back.
Right.
Which is a harsh thing to say. And there's obviously
or
like
pushing them too
several
hard.
Yes.
So they've that.
Or pushing them,
the
and being like, you have to do this. And if they're scared, not listening to them, you have to do it anyways. And then it becomes what Daddy did to me in basketball. Where I'm sobbing down the court because Dad's yelling at me about something I don't want to play.
That was not toddlerhood, but yes.
That was not toddlerhood, but it's still,
Yeah, it's the throwing the kid in the pool when
we
they're
don't
screaming
want that.
and they're like traumatized. No. And you're like, you'll learn
they're never going to swim again because of that.
So yeah, but like how can you think about like slowing down, what do they need? How can I meet them where they are in their support? And doesn't mean that like they're 100% on board. They may be a little scared, but like how can you support them even when they're fearful? How can you help regulate them?
Yeah.
How can you challenge them, but also support them at the same time? How can you, you have to attune to them to see like, okay, what are you ready for next? Okay, you mastered this one. What are you ready for next? And so you're consistently noticing where they are developmentally, and then you're following their trajectory on development. You're not pushing them too far too soon to create pressure and these unrealistic expectations, but you're also not so fearful that you're keeping them from being able to grow and explore, so that they can learn about their world and understand that they can do things independently and they don't have to,
like make sure it's good with you first.
Yeah. Well, they need to know that you're okay, right?
Yeah.
That actually is. I don't know what you mean by that exactly, but like young kids especially, like for instance, they like if it's a secure relationship and like a stranger comes in, then the child will see how you parent interacts
and then react based on that.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
They're like, "Are you okay with them? Because if you're okay with them, I can be okay with them."
Yeah.
Like that is a sign of like security when they're referencing you to be like, "Are you okay?" Because then maybe I can be okay. And then it's like I can warm up to this person because you feel safe enough with them. Yeah. They're maybe not being like my bestie, but they're going to be like, I'm going to try to interact with them. So there are ways that we can support our kids with, just their discovery, and we can enjoy that. Like we should be enjoying it. I think when we're too uptight and we're not showing like enjoyment of like, seeing what are they going to do whenever they're out exploring, like witnessing their discovery, enjoying their discovery, then one, we're missing out on joy in our own lives that I think is God-given opportunity for joy and connection with our kids.
Yeah.
And something that we're going to be able to carry forward in our relationship with them. And then also they're missing that opportunity to connect too, to see like, I'm doing something that my caregiver, like my mom or dad, is like excited by or proud of. And I can see it in their eyes that they're excited by me and proud of me.
Yeah.
Just for me being like out here doing something.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I just think it's so cool that, like, I don't know, we talked about this earlier, but I just think it's so cool that, like, that there is a specific set apart time in development where, like, the main things that the kid is learning is what to do and what to say. And, like with the linguistics and just learning, like, how to play and how to explore and be creative. I just think it's so cool that, like, God set that up in a way where, like, two of the most important things that we learn as, like, disciples of Jesus, like, I think it says in Colossians 3 is, like, let everything that you do in word and deed be glorifying to Jesus, basically. And so the fact that God set out a specific time in our lives, even though it's so young, that we are learning those two things simultaneously, almost in that, like, what we say should align with what we act, because we're learning them at the same time. We're learning how to play, we're learning how to do, and we're learning how to say and speak and understand the word. And I just think it's so cool that it's by God's design that the word and deed of our lives is supposed to be connected, that we are both hearers and doers of the word, right?
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. And we do that in relationship.
Yeah.
That's all supported by and through our most important relationships.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's cool insight.
So we talked about Genesis at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think now that we've talked about, like, exploring, we see that God also does this in the garden.
Yeah.
It says in Genesis 2, which is really cool, whenever he being God places Adam in the garden, it says, "And the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east, and there he put a man whom he had formed. And out of the ground the Lord God made to spring up every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil." So you see that he's put him in this beautiful, perfect place where everything that you see is beautiful and good for food. So it's both, what you're seeing is reflecting the character of God, but also the protection and provision of God is there too. So, and then it says, the Lord took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and keep it. And then the Lord gives the commandment that you surely should eat of every tree in the garden, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it you shall surely die. Then the Lord God said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make a helper fit for him." Now out of the ground the Lord God had formed every beast of the field and every bird of the heavens, and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called every living creature, that was its name. The man gave names to all the livestock, and to the birds of the heavens, and to every beast of the field. And so God lets Adam be creative.
I love that. That, like, God, I just imagine God, like, he's like, "Okay, come here."
He's like, "Okay,
he's like,
come here.
I'm going to sit you down here, and I want you, and I'm going to bring the animals to you."
I know.
And
it's like it's a big playground. Like, he's like, the animals are his big toys.
Yeah, he's like, "What do you want to call this one?"
Yeah. He's like, "And what do you think about that?
Yeah.
What do you think you would want to use this animal for?"
Yeah. And he's like, "Rhinoceros."
he's like lion.
And then God's like, "Good, lion." I like
yes. And it's just so, it's just such a great picture.
I'm not trying to, like,
I'm not trying to make it.
This.
No, I'm not at all.
Really
I just,
cool.
no, yeah. I think it, I mean, I genuinely am trying to put myself in Adam's shoes.
I know.
And I'm
I just
thinking
think
like,
it's so cool.
for one, how did you come up with the word rhinoceros? And,
I don't
you know,
Well, I
whatever.
know,
I'm
like,
sure it
whatever
was whatever
language
language that was
that
in.
was.
But I think it's just like God allowed Adam, like God 100% could have named all the animals and been like, Adam, this is what they're called. And let me
right.
teach you
Yes.
what they're called.
Right.
But instead he gives Adam the creativity to
Yeah.
name. So like whatever Adam
and
has
he
named
wanted
it.
to know what he named them. Like he could have
He
also
wanted
been
to
like,
see, yeah.
here you go. Now
You
this
can
is
name
your
them,
garden.
and then I'm gonna go over here,
Right.
and you can just
Yes.
take
He
care of
could
that.
have been like, here's your garden. There's all the animals. Have fun.
Yeah, and then
And I'm gonna
abandon
go.
yeah.
I mean,
No, he stays with them.
goodness, isn't that a picture? Like how many times do like
Oh, how many
yikes.
times have parents?
Yeah, like here's your room, here's your toys.
No, you
I'm
play.
gonna
I'm gonna go.
get on my phone or I'm gonna go watch TV or whatever, and
Yeah.
that's challenging.
Yeah.
Like that is like, no, God, the God of the universe,
The God of the universe took the time to sit with Adam
and
and listen to him as he was creative.
Yeah, and using his words and
Yeah,
coming
and still
up with
seeing him
words.
as good.
Yeah,
Like this is before sin had entered the world.
Yeah.
There's still this holy, perfect union between God and Adam,
Yeah.
where there's nothing
Yeah.
hidden.
yeah.
It's so open, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how God designed it. It's something that like it's honestly something that I feel like it can't even be put into words, to just be able to sit and play, like,
Yeah,
and just
enjoy.
enjoy each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No agenda.
Like a great relationship.
No agenda.
Yeah. There's agenda. There's name the animals.
Well, I mean
There's
agenda
no, like,
by
hidden
agenda by
Yeah.
God of
Yeah.
like you have to prove yourself.
No,
Nothing
not
like
at
that.
all. This is just for
Just-
the enjoyment of this interaction. Just for like, I want to see what you name them.
Yeah.
They need a name, and
Yeah.
I want to see what you're gonna name them. And
Yeah,
I
there's just such
I'm
pure
here for it.
intentions.
yeah.
And so what is your
That's so
intention?
beautiful.
You know?
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I love it. And I think we can take so much from that and be challenged as parents that, like, yeah, taking the time to just be with our kids and enjoy and give them the space to express
What they're thinking.
how they were created to be.
Yeah.
And their thoughts, what they want to say, how they want to create, the way
Mhm.
God made them. That's really, really cool.
It is.
Right. So, toddlerhood.
So we'll do
Explore-
another
Mm-hmm.
episode about boundaries in toddlerhood, because this is kind of the first
Yeah.
time that you're gonna, as parents, probably have to discipline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Infants they can't really do that much wrong
Yeah.
intentionally.
Yes. So
Toddlers,
we'll talk about what that needs to look like, what that should look
Yeah.
like, what's appropriate, and even like cognitively, because that's a lot of times a big question. Cognitively, what's going on? What are they even capable of in terms of like, thoughts around disobedience and things like that.
Are they doing it
So-
intentionally, or are they just doing it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Good
we'll talk
question.
about that, and
Yeah.
thank you guys for
Excited. Yeah.
listening and or watching. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts to stay updated on all things Whole Person Parenting Podcast. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching.
Bye.
Bye.